Okay, we're going to keep on with the program. Jim Mars. One of the foremost authors and speakers on the 9/11 truth movement, and has a huge following going back to his reporting on the JFK assassination. Some of you can see Crossfire. His book Ruled by Secrecy, covered by the New York Times. He wrote Inside Job, Unmasking the 9/11 Conspiracies, one of the widely recognized and distributed books in the movement, and has now greatly expanded his work with the release of The Terror Conspiracy. Additionally, Jim has made a great contribution to the movement in his presentations at major 9/11 Truth conferences since 2004, and spoke at the big 9/11 conference in Chicago this past June. We're talking about a big conference right here, right now, and we're going to bring this crime to a halt, right? Yeah. Without further ado, Jim Mars.
Because this is great to be in New York City. This is what it's all about. This issue, this 9/11 issue. And I'm adamant about this because I'm not an activist, or at least I don't consider myself an activist. I'm a journalist. I'm trained as a journalist, and I committed myself to journalism many years ago. And so don't expect me to carry the banner and charge the barricades. That's going to be up to you. But you have to be armed with truthful information. And this is what I'm bringing to you. Barry taught me a very valuable lesson. I'm not going to wait till my time runs out before I shamelessly advertise the terror conspiracy. Now, why should you read this above any of the other really good works that have been put out there? 2 reasons. Number one, believe it or not, I was there first. I wrote the day after 9/11, I said, we must not be snookered like we have in the past. We must follow President Bush's admonition that we not rest until we find out who's truly behind 9/11. As the weeks rolled on, I gathered more and more information. It became abundantly clear that there was plenty of advance warnings. As the 9/11 Commission 3 years later finally was forced to admit, the warning system was blinking red. All right, so why was nothing done? And I had all of this in book form. It should have come out in 2002 from a major publisher here in New York. I had a contract. They shut it down the very day after the legal vetting, which I passed. And the only reason I was ever given was that they didn't want to upset the families of 9/11 victims. Those very families who have led the attack, pushed the agenda. If it hadn't been for the 9/11 victims' families, there would never have been a 9/11 commission. The day after Pearl Harbor, Congress convened the commission to find out what had happened. Less than a week after the Kennedy assassination, Johnson formed that infamous Warren Commission. Almost 2 years after 9/11, the Bush administration and Bush himself were dragging their feet, throwing obstacles in the way of any truthful investigation. That should be a tip-off to anyone, okay? And now look at how they treat us. They treat us like absolute idiots. Everything that they have, the official conspiracy theory, okay, which is backed by little or nothing, all falls back on one of the oldest tricks in the book, appeal to authority. When the Popular Mechanics article came out months ago, debunking the 9/11 conspiracy myths, okay, it was not that well received. So what did they do? They came around here lately in the latest issue, reviving their arguments, but now whose name is on it? Senator John McCain. And he says, oh, well, I can rebut these 9/11 arguments, and I was interested. I mean, I'm after truth. If they could prove to me something happened, then I want to know it. If they could prove to me that buildings can get hit by airplanes and then just crumble to pulverized dust and drop into their own footprint, even after the South Tower had tilted at the top by about 45 degrees and then just dropped straight down, if they can really convince me that that can happen, okay. So I read his article with great diligence. He never answered anything. All he did was name call. All he did was badmouth people like you and I and people who were trying to find the truth from 9/11. Appeal to authority. The latest issue of Time magazine, big article, why the 9/11 conspiracies won't go away. Well, I can tell them why it won't go away because of the truth. The arrogance of these people and how much they think, how stupid they think we are. Right here on the page it says, talking about the Pentagon, experts will tell you the hole was punched by the plane's fuselage, not its wings, which sheared off on impact. And then they thoughtfully show us 3 pictures, enlarging on up, of the hole in the Pentagon. Where's the wings? They're not there. And it's incredible. They talk out of both sides of the mouth. The one thing that the Bush administration and I agree on, and if there's any one good thing to come out of 9/11, it's that the word conspiracy has now been rehabilitated. Okay? Talk about conspiracy because the Bush administration and I and you, we all agreed there was a big conspiracy on 9/11. The question is, whose conspiracy was it? Right? Now, I've been accused of just dealing with conspiracy theories, and I've gotten immune to that, but I still bridle at that because I don't deal with theories. I don't wake up one morning and go, I've got a theory. Let me see if I can go about proving that. No, that's the way the government works. In 1964, they had a theory. Lee Harvey Oswald did it all by himself. 3 shots through a tree with a bolt-action rifle in 6 seconds. You know? Yeah. Now, let's see if we can prove that. And by the way, for any of you who have not followed that case, the 2 key prosecution damning facts and evidence against Oswald have now totally fallen away. The first was they said his fingerprints were on the gun. That made headlines all over the country. Everybody went, well, there you go. He did it. No. The rifle was sent to the FBI on Saturday following the investigation. That afternoon, there was a document issued signed by J. Edgar Hoover himself that said no usable prints were found on the rifle or even the inner parts of the rifle. On Sunday, there are documents showing the rifle was shipped back to Dallas. On Monday morning, an FBI team carried the rifle in a crime lab kit to the Miller Funeral Home, and the director there, Paul Rudy, told me years ago and on several different occasions that he was present when they put his dead hand on the gun. And only that evening did Henry Wade, the district attorney of Dallas, suddenly blurted out to the media, have I mentioned we found his fingerprints on the rifle? All right, and Paul Rudy said that he had to really rush and he had a terrible time getting the fingerprint ink off of Oswald's dead hand in time for the burial. All right, so much for fingerprints. And the other was neutron activation analysis, which J. Edgar Hoover told the Warren Commission that fragments of bullets found in Kennedy's body, Connolly's body, and in the limousine were similar